International Convention for the Safety of Life at Sea, SOLAS, 1974. What is SOLAS Convention? The word SOLAS is an abbreviation and SOLAS full form is Safety of Life at Sea, an international maritime treaty, also known as SOLAS Convention, or International Convention for the Safety of Life at Sea, SOLAS, which establishes the least safety measures in the construction, equipment, and operation of merchant ships. The SOLAS Convention in its successive forms is generally regarded as the most important of all international treaties concerning the safety of merchant ships. The first version of SOLAS Treaty was passed in 1914, in response to the Titanic disaster, which prescribed numbers of lifeboats and other emergency equipment along with safety procedures, including continuous radio watches. The 1914 treaty never entered into force due to the outbreak of the First World War. The second version were adopted in 1929. The third version were adopted in 1948. The fourth version were adopted in 1960. The 1974 version includes the tacit acceptance procedure, which provides that an amendment shall enter into force on a specified date unless before that date, objections to the amendment are received from an agreed number of parties. As a result, the 1974 convention has been updated and amended on numerous occasions. The convention in force today is sometimes referred to as SOLAS 1974, as amended. Technical provisions. The main objective of the SOLAS Convention is to specify minimum standards for the construction, equipment and operation of ships, compatible with their safety. Flag states are responsible for ensuring that ships under their flag comply with its requirements, and a number of certificates are prescribed in the Convention as proof that this has been done. Control provisions also allow contracting governments to inspect ships of other contracting states if there are clear grounds for believing that the ship and its equipment do not substantially comply with the requirements of the Convention. This procedure is known as port state control. The current SOLAS Convention includes articles setting out general obligations, amendment procedure and so on, followed by an annex divided into 14 chapters. SOLAS content. Chapter 1. General provisions. It deals with surveying the various types of ships and certifying that they meet the requirements of the Convention. Chapter 2:1. Construction, subdivision and stability, machinery and electrical installations. It deals with the subdivision of passenger ships into watertight compartments so that after damage to its hull, a vessel will remain afloat and stable. Chapter 2:2. Is fire protection, fire detection and fire extinction. This chapter elaborates the means and measure for fire protection in accommodation, cargo spaces and engine room for the passenger, cargo and tanker ship. Chapter 3. Is life-saving appliances in arrangements. It deals with life-saving appliances in arrangements, including requirements for lifeboats, rescue boats, and life jackets according to type of ship. The specific technical requirements are given in the International Life-Saving Appliance (LSA) Code. Chapter 4 is radio communications. It includes requirements of GMDSS, SAT, EPIB, etc. for cargo and passenger vessel. Chapter 5 is safety of navigation. This chapter requires governments to ensure that all vessels are sufficiently and efficiently manned from a safety point of view. It places requirements on all vessels regarding voyage and passage planning, expecting a careful assessment of any proposed voyages by all who put to sea. Every mariner must take account of all potential dangers to navigation, weather forecasts, tidal predictions, the competence of the crew, and all other relevant factors. It also adds an obligation for all vessels' masters to offer assistance to those in distress, and controls the use of life-saving signals with specific requirements regarding danger and distress messages. It is different from the other chapters, which apply to certain classes of commercial shipping, in that these requirements apply to all vessels and their crews, including yachts and private craft, on all voyages and trips including local ones. Chapter 6 is carriage of cargoes. This chapter defines storage and securing of different types of cargo and containers, but does not include oil and gas cargo. Chapter 7 is carriage of dangerous goods. It requires the carriage of all kinds of dangerous goods to be in compliance with International Bulk Chemical Code, IBC Code, International Code of the Construction and Equipment of Ships Carrying Liquefied Gases in Bulk, IGC Code, and International Maritime Dangerous Goods Code, IMDG Code. Chapter 8 is nuclear ships. This chapter states the code of safety for a nuclear-propelled ship. Chapter 9 is management for the safe operation of ships. It requires every ship owner and any person or company that has assumed responsibility for a ship to comply with the International Safety Management Code, ISM Code. Chapter 10 is safety measures for high-speed craft. It makes mandatory the International Code of Safety for High-Speed Craft, HSC Code. Chapter 11.1 is special measures to enhance maritime safety. It deals with requirements relating to organizations responsible for carrying out surveys and inspections, enhanced surveys, the Ship Identification Number Scheme, and operational requirements. Chapter 11.2 Special measures to enhance maritime security includes the International Ship and Port Facility Security Code, ISPS Code, confirms that the role of the master in maintaining the security of the ship is not, and cannot be, constrained by the company, the charterer or any other person. Port facilities must carry out security assessments and develop, implement and review port facility security plans, controls the delay, detention, restriction, or expulsion of a ship from a port, requires that ships must have a ship's security alert system, as well as detailing other measures and requirements. Chapter 12 is additional safety measures for bulk carriers. Specific structural requirements for bulk carriers over 150 meters in length. Chapter 13 is verification of compliance. It makes mandatory from the 1st of January 2016 the IMO member state audit scheme. Chapter 14 is safety measures for ships operating in polar waters. The chapter makes mandatory, from the 1st of January 2017, the introduction and Part 1A of the International Code for ships operating in polar waters, the Polar Code. Amendments. The 1974 Convention has been amended many times to keep it up to date.